All right, YouTube, long time no see. And we're going to kick things off with a review for Fallout, the TV show that just premiered on Amazon. Haven't did one of these in a very long time. So we're going to try to pick things back up, try to take it a little bit more seriously than I did the last time. And we're going to try to keep these videos around 5 to 10 minutes. So let's jump into it here. Let me just play the trailer of it in the background here. But first thoughts. As a fan of the games, I've played all of them besides the mobile ones. I think, what was it called? Fallout Shelter or something like that. Didn't touch that one. Played all the rest of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 76 even for a little bit. And I kind of half like the TV show and I half don't. I'm going to get to my major hates in a little bit, but good things. Writing some of the time. Set design, colors, costumes, most of the time. The story that they went with, most of it. Things that I majorly didn't like. Shady Sands being blown up. Throwing the lore out the window. What was the black guy's name? The Brotherhood of Steel guy. I forget what his name is. It's been like a week or two since I watched it when it first came out. Other things I didn't like. Random dirty language for the sake of just having dirty language. What else? Them not using certain voices that are in the games. Meaning the Mr. Handys and stuff like that. Where they take certain factions, aka Brotherhood of Steel, NCR. Because if you play the games and since this follows, I guess you could say the game story, I don't like where they take those particular factions in this, because they're saying F the Lord. But outside of that, I thought the show was good. Lucy's story being the main protagonist kind of really felt like Fallout 3, going to find her dad, things like that. The whole vault stuff with her people being super naive and things like that. Thought that was pretty cool, how they kept jumping back and forth between the two. Really did like how they had to like figure out what was going on and stuff like that with like her brother and the other guy that liked her. I forget what his character's name was. But I wish they'd have dove more into that, or let's say made that into like its own little spin-off show. Because that could have been really good. Every time they jump back from Lucy or to one of the other characters to the vault stuff, it's cool that they're learning more of the vault stuff, don't get me wrong, but it's also taken away from time of Lucy being on the surface. And maybe they did that because that's cheaper. I don't know how much money they put in the show, but certain things look cheap. Like, that's why I said I like a lot of the costume stuff most of the time. Because when it got to the Brotherhood and the power armor, it's just like, it was looking kind of cheap sometimes. But it's a TV show, so I mean, I'm not faulting it for that. I'm just saying it does stand out. As like a fan of it, it stands out tremendously. But as somebody who don't know nothing about Fallout, this is something that they're just gonna probably watch and either like it or hate it. You know, it's gonna be one of those kind of sort of things. Lucy's character, I thought she played an okay job. I was kind of worried that they were going to kind of make her a Mary Sue and stuff like that, which they kind of do, but they don't really harp on a lot of the socialisms and stuff that they, put in a lot of mediums today. I'm not somebody who hardcore looks for a lot of that stuff, but I notice it being how old I am. I'm 40 years old, so to me, it's like I remember how movies and stuff used to be, and I've been watching movies all my life, so it's like I can see when they really try to dump it in here. And with this, it's like, it's okay. It felt like they wanted the world to breathe and to have world building and stuff. Less so more of like the in your face, like gender politics or just politics in general, that kind of sort of thing. Felt Lucy's story becoming more naive into, like, I guess you could say, you know, the killer, like in the trailer here. It's, how would I explain it without being too negative? I think it was too earned too quickly, you know, because the show, it feels like it takes place during a week. So I don't know if it's just, maybe it's just me, but it feels like it's they got her there a little bit too quickly, because when you watch the episodes, and I forget how many it is, like 6 or 8 or something like that, but by them jumping around so much and between different characters, it's like you're only getting like part of the story with each character, and then they all kind of tie together, but then they don't. And excuse me if I sound weird. I'm a little bit sick too, by the way. So sorry if that comes through, but I liked it as a whole overall. The black guy, I forget what his name is, but Brotherhood of Steel guy, I did not like him at all, to be honest. He was the one character I hated throughout the whole show. Like, at first, I thought I was gonna like him. He seemed like he was gonna be the Brotherhood stick up the ass kind of sort of person who was all about the rules and regulations of the Brotherhood, right? Boy, was I wrong. All of that goes right out the window after his first introduction, and when he steals the armor and everything he does in the show. It's like he's the show. I mean, I don't want to, cuss on here, but he was like the show fuck up. That's exactly what he was. Everything he did, he fucked up. Everything. And it's like, come on, man. Like, why was he even there? That's like, I wish the show was about Lucy and the ghoul guy. I forget what his name is in real life, but he was the character I liked the most out of the whole show. Him right there. Like, his character from beginning, middle to the end, pre-war, after war, loved it. Everything about his character I liked. I wish the show was about him, but you can't really, well, I guess you could tell a story with that, but I understand why it has to be Lucy, a vault dweller coming out of the vault trying to find something, since that's what the game is about for the most part. You know, that's the story that everybody knows. So everybody's either going to equate this to either Fallout 3 or Fallout 4. You know, Fallout 4 being the most visually pronounced one. I heavily doubted they were going to be like, oh, let's make this look like New Vegas. Even though that's the most popular Fallout game, I just knew it wasn't going to be that, because that's not the one Bethesda makes. Excuse me. And since Bethesda are the one that's making the show, it's like they're going to want to use their stuff, just like every other time a comic book writer or a movie writer takes a different comic book property, for instance, and let's say they want to, they're writing a movie for it, they want to do their own thing instead of taking what works. You know, why? I mean, if this made $1 billion, why not use that? But no. And that's what they did here. So like the ghoul stuff, the overarching story I thought was good for about halfway. Once it got towards the end and it told you what happened to the NCR and knowing how the Brotherhood is lore-wise, and then when you watch this, they act completely different. It just really kind of took me out of it, you know, at the end. I was only really invested to see how the story would end, and where they took the ending of the story, I'm like, okay, she finds her dad, some stuff happens, and what's her name did all of this for just this. It just felt like they dropped the ball. And plus the stuff with Vault-Tec, I wasn't really a fan of, because Vault-Tec were usually, you know, the assholes of the game, sure, but they weren't the cause of the war. They never were. You know, they kind of, at least the themes behind the game, the whole war never changes thing, is that humanity is the ones that has the problem. They're the ones that caused the war. So no matter what time or place it is, there's going to be war fighting between humanity, because war never changes. The idea of people fighting each other is still going to be there. You know, it wasn't just like Vault-Tec deciding they were going to do something and then stuff happens and that's what kicked everything off. So they were just like a byproduct of the world that was so shitty, you know. Um, Also didn't like how they had Mr. House in there. You know, spoilers if anybody who haven't seen this, but yeah, they showed Mr. House, which was weird. Which because he was like a New Vegas thing, and it's like, okay, I could see, you know, certain elements of New Vegas in there, but to pull that hard to be like, that's like throwing in Caesar's Legion or something. It's like that's directly from New Vegas. And why even do that? You know, because now you're kind of ruining the ending to that game too, which they probably don't care about. But if they don't care about the game, why even pull Mr. House in the first place? You know? So maybe they're gonna lead into New Vegas stuff with season 2. I'm not sure, but at this point, I wouldn't even want them to do that, to be honest. I'd rather, like the biggest thing that makes me mad about this is because as a fan of the games and everything, and of old Bethesda, I would say, is that they could have set this anywhere. Like, as far as Fallout, we have the area where I'm at, where Fallout 3 took place, that's my neck of the woods. So that's the DMV. That's DC, Lower Maryland, Virginia. And then you have the Northeast, Massachusetts, Boston, all that stuff. Then you have, on the West Coast, you have California, I want to say San Francisco, and New Vegas being in Arizona and stuff. And it's like you have everywhere else, well, outside of South Carolina, because that was DLC. You have anywhere else in the U.S. to make a story where they could have made a show, called it Fallout, have similar elements from the games, but just not have it took place in any one of those areas, and then they could have just made up whatever they wanted to do. That had to work. But it's like they didn't. And that's what I hate, is because if you have a good writer, you can write a good story anywhere. Like, you know, set this in Washington State or something, or somewhere else. Set it in fucking Texas. I mean, if you wanted to keep the whole desert thing, you know, anywhere else they could have set this, written their own story, and then you don't have to destroy the lore that already exists in your world building. They could have just, you know, left it alone. But I don't know, YouTube. I'm hoping it's going to do well for them. I mean, it seems like it did well. I know I at least watched it when it came out, and I've heard a lot of people talking about it, so it's probably doing well. I know that I don't know how well it's going to keep, though, because I know other lore people that are heavily invested, they kind of hate it, but then a lot of new people are going to jump on and play the games and everything, so it's like, is it going to do well long term? Who knows? It just doesn't seem like a show that has it together story-wise. Like it's good, don't get me wrong, and it's well made, but at the same time, it's like I don't think the story of the show is enough to carry it multiple seasons. That's what I'm saying. You know, like it's gonna have its fans. It didn't completely flop, but it wasn't like the greatest thing ever. It wasn't like when Amazon came out with like The Boys or Invincible when it came out, where everybody just loved it and you knew it was going to get multiple seasons. So I think they announced season 2 for this. I mean, I'm hoping they can keep it going, but maybe they're just doing their own thing lore-wise and world-wise, and then something they can build on, but I just don't see how they couldn't do that and keep the lore the way it was, because it was fun before. You know, it had its little tweaks here and there, but other than that, you know, it was fun. But who knows? Anyways, YouTube, I'm going to jump on to another video here, so thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.